Peace. Hi, Amaka. Hi, Kende. Welcome. Trying to. Hi, Nora. How are you guys doing? I hope you can hear me. I'm in the middle of a retreat, but I decided I must come on today because the network was horrible last week. Tori, I'm just going to call you Tori because I cannot pronounce the whole of your name. Hi, Ife. Welcome. How you guys doing? How you doing? How's Friday going for you? Awesome. Thank you, Nora. Thank you. So my King's family is having a retreat for leaders, and that's where I am now, and it's going so well. It's really good to have a good laugh. Hi. Hi, Timmy. Hi, Timmy. It's really good to have a good laugh and just chill and be goofy even as adults. It's really cool, and I wish we were staying here an extra day beyond tomorrow, but alas, Sunday is Sunday. Welcome, Unyade. Welcome, Abby Baby. Hope we're good. Welcome, Roberta by Mercy. I don't think I got that right. Hi, Jess. Jess, we're counting down to your arrival. Hope you've sorted out all of those stuff. Okay. Especially because I'm in the middle of a retreat, I'm going to be a bit faster, and I'm also going to take questions from the jump. So if you have any questions at all about wandering feelings or a wandering eye, you can start dropping them now. You can put them in the comments, or you can use the question mark icon, and let's just hit it off. All right, so wandering feelings or a wandering eye. Can anybody have wandering feelings? I'm just going to hit it and run. Anybody can have wandering feelings. And I remember writing about this sometime last year. And a lot of people were like, God forbid, though, it cannot happen to me. If you're committed to the relationship, you have eyes for only your spouse, you have eyes for only your partner, you won't have time for this and that. If you are engaged, not everybody was saying this, by the way. Some people said if you're very engaged with your work, if you're very engaged with purpose, you will not have time to have affections for somebody else. Some people said things like, welcome everybody who's just joining. Some people said things like, if you are a certain type of way, if you give off certain types of energies, then you will attract certain types of people, which is true. But the person was saying, oh, if you don't give up a certain vibe that you are available or you can be spoken to, then people will not come to you, and so you won't have wandering feelings and all. Maybe in context, some of these things make sense, but the truth about it is that anybody can have wandering feelings, whether it's temporal, whether it's fleeting, whether it's long drawn, and whether it's even the wandering feelings that leads the person to cheat or to literally break off the relationship or to leave their marriage. Olu, I see you. Gloria, I see you. Welcome. And everybody else who's joining between. Petra, good to see you. But anybody can have wandering feelings, whether you are a believer, whether you're single, whether you're married, whether you're a pastor, anybody, right? So what is wandering? What are wandering feelings? Literally when your feelings wander, right? There are times in your relationship or in your marriage, even if you are so in love with your spouse or so in love with your boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, I know this is one thing especially women can't get about men. That how can you say you love someone and you cheat on them? How can you say you love someone and then you're eyeing somebody else? And to be very honest, for me, for a long time, I had that question as well. How can you say you love me and then you're eyeing somebody else? Or you love me and then you cheat? Fam, you don't love me. You have a very weird way of showing it if you say you love me. And at the risk of being stoned for this statement, if your girlfriend or your babe or your guy begins to have, I don't want to use the word affection, that may seem too deep, begins to have feelings or begins to have certain types of attractions for another person, it doesn't mean that they don't love you. Now, what they do with that feeling is what we need to talk about and come to, right? And I remember a story about myself. So when I got married in 2014, oh, welcome, the stalwart lovers. Welcome, guy. You find the obodo, Abby. Enjoyment. I've been telling my husband, and now only us remain for Lagos. Anywho's, sorry, welcome. I remember when I got married in 2014, my husband moved to the UK, had already moved to the UK, and then I was supposed to go with him immediately we got married, but my passport disappeared, and that's a story for another day, but I've shared that story before. So I couldn't go. I had to get another passport, get another visa. It was quite traumatic, because when married, don't they hunger me, don't choke me here. It was now time to go. I could not now go. Ugh, it was so devastating. So there's this guy that I had known even before I got married. I don't want to give too much information, but I'd known him, was family member and stuff. And we used to talk and we used to gist. And we were cool. He was much older than me. But he just had a liking, a bit took a liking to me, or what's the English? And so we used to gist. And I'm very stimulated by intelligence. Even if I'm not as intelligent as the person, it just gets me. I'm very stimulated by intelligence, good diction, high jooms fashion. Finally, for what? Ore, you've come to distract people. Hi, Ore. Welcome and thank you. Right? I'm attracted to confidence, I'm attracted to good diction, and I'm attracted to intelligence. And of course, my husband has 3 of them. So there you go. Right? And so he had all these things, most of them. Yeah. And so I was just like, and then he was now older than me, and he now seemed to like me. I'm like, this is cool, but I wasn't really paying attention. And then my husband traveled, and it was just me here. And then I really knew the meaning of that song, show me the meaning of being lonely. Who sang that song? Backstreet Boys. Is this the feeling I need to walk with? Oh, yeah, so sorry. Yeah, I couldn't join in yesterday because last week, I think it was kind of general. IG lives were just blank, so I really couldn't do it. Right. Thanks for joining. And so when this guy started coming around when my husband was not around, I noticed over time, from conversation to conversation, I was interested. I look forward to phone calls. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily be the one to call. Backstreet Boys, thank you for the lady in my generation. Yeah, right. I wouldn't call because you know that kind of thing that you're not supposed to be doing this thing. But if they do it to you, you're like, okay, it's fine. I didn't call, but he called. What kind of sister girl would I be if I just didn't pick up his calls? What kind of sister girl would I be if I just told him, you know what, I'm married, I can't talk to you? There's nothing wrong in just friendship, right? I know where to draw the line. I know what the barriers are. That's all those things we used to tell ourselves. And I kept on doing that until one day I realized that, okay, this can be messy. And I remember asking the guy a question one day. And I'm not going to ask that question here. And he answered that question. I'm like, if you can do this, you can do worse things to me. So I think at this point, it's a trap. I need to start doing my moonwalk back. And I thank God that very early in my life, from the time I was a teenager, I had learned that sin thrives in secrecy. I didn't even really understand the fullness of it, but I just knew that sin thrived in secrecy. And so I told my husband, I said, see, there's this guy. He knew of the guy. Maybe he'd met him once or twice. I said, there's this guy, and I'm enjoying the company. And I think it's really because you are not here. So I feel there's a vacuum or there's a gap or something. But this is how I'm feeling, and this is why I'm feeling what I'm feeling. I trust my husband. Can also please explain to me why some men do this thing, right? And I don't know, I don't really know what I was expecting him to do. I was expecting him to be angry. I was expecting him to say, block the guy. Open it up. Yes, it loses the power. Yeah. I was expecting him to say, block the guy, or let me talk to him, or this and this. Yeah, 100% disclosure. Yeah, I think that's another thing I want to learn from you guys today. I want you guys to comment about it now. So if something like this happens, must you tell your spouse? Especially if you know you are enjoying it and you don't want your spouse to be upset or angry or suspicious of having anything to bother about. Do you think you should just deal with it by yourself? Especially if you know you can actually deal with it. Let's even say you've dealt with it. Do you still need to tell your spouse? Right? Do you think you should tell your spouse? I've actually heard, and this is really big. I've actually heard a pastor say, if you cheated on your wife or you cheated on your husband, if you know they are going to react in a very bad way, I'm not married, but I think transparency is key. Okay, if you know they're going to react in a very bad way, but you yourself, you've thought, sorry guys, I still need the space for some minutes.
It's Hannah. I want to pick something in the word.
I don't think you can come in now, please.
Okay.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for joining in. OMG, I forgot what I was saying, right? Sorry about that, guys. So if you know your spouse is going to react badly and you're seeking counsel, you've spoken to your pastor, you have changed your ways and everything. If you know your spouse is going to have a mental breakdown, if you know your spouse is going to be really upset, if you know your spouse is going to become suspicious of you or not trust you and all of that, then don't tell your spouse. What do you guys think about that? I want to know. Don't think you can overcome or do yourself. Let he that thinks he stands take heed lest he falls. Okay? I'm not sure you can deal with it, so excuse me. Something just went down the wrong way. For the ladies, cause of emotions. Okay, so what about the guys? Anita, welcome by the way. If I said she still tell them. My senior colleagues say, yes, tell your spouse. It's intentionally training your mind to not keep secrets from your spouse. Because once you start getting comfortable keeping things, there would be bigger secrets that you keep later. I agree. I think this is where counseling also comes in. Open it all up. Tell your mentors, counselors. Wrong advice. Tell your spouse in the presence of trusted counsel. Okay? All right. I'm going to play. I don't like saying devil's advocate, but what is going on? So what if... I want us to think, okay, everybody's saying they agree. The meltdown is inevitable. Okay. So what if you are the person on the receiving end? Think about it, right? I believe most times we see it from the angle of we want our spouse to tell us. We want our spouse to be open with us. And to be fair, sometimes some women say things like, tell me, don't worry, we're in this together. But when they're actually told, especially in details, they get very frantic. They get very... I think if you cheat, you've done the crime, so you should do the time. Interesting. Right? We can get very frantic, we can get very somehow, and then the man is like, you see why I didn't want to tell you. And then often enough, a lot of women now put the men through hell. Now the truth is, I say, come, if you've cheated, man or woman, certain things are bound to happen. It's not going to be easy for you to just get through that, right? But how, you yourself that you've been offended, how do you draw the line between letting your spouse go through due process and elongating your hurts? Because especially for women, it's just the fact that this cheating thing will at least manifestly hurts us more. So how do we differentiate? I'm still looking for answers. Thank you guys so much for everything you shared. How do you differentiate between, okay, fine, maybe the guy has to be quote unquote, I don't want to use the word monitored, but maybe things like he needs to come home earlier, maybe he needs to share screen duplications with you, certain apps need to be blocked, all those kinds of things, those due process. But when does due process now tip into you just going through your emotions? Because the truth is, the guy or the girl might have done everything they're supposed to do in terms of being monitored, but you're still feeling the pain. So even after they've done everything, you still want to exert your pain on them because of what they've done to you. So how do you think we can make that differentiation? Because the truth is, especially like we said, for women, it's extra for us. Guys are like, I've said sorry, I know I did wrong, I'm going to make up, but don't now kill me over this. How do you think we can differentiate that? Truly, sometimes we can't handle it, but if we don't handle it, then we don't make it easy for our spouses to tell us everything. We must see beyond the hurt and focus on getting the person back. Yeah, I agree with that. I fully agree. The heart and focus on getting the person back, the heart to even speak up is not easy. That's more appreciated. Yes, it's not easy for your spouse come and tell you, oh, I cheated, or I stepped, or I'm having wandering feelings, especially when godly and content. Thank you very much. Especially when you know how the person is going to react and then they still come to tell you. That should really be appreciated. Yeah. It is, well, there's so much to learn in marriage, because I can just hear a woman's voice in my head like, okay, so you cheated and you came to tell me, so I should clap for you, Abby. I should tell you, well done. Oh my God. I think we can review feelings after a period of time and talk through it. Yeah. But like we said earlier, this is really where counseling comes in. There are so many things you feel you may be able to handle by yourself and you don't. And I know even in Africa, even with believers now, some things I still feel like airing your dirty linen in public. But we need to get past that and talk to people. So for example, in all honesty, I'm going to be very honest. I'm a counselor myself. I'm a pastor. I'm married to a pastor and all. It's not easy for me to tell if I have an issue in my marriage. I can't just tell anybody about it. Right? It's not easy. The people that we can talk to are very limited. But the truth is you must pick those people, even if it's to a couple or two people, even if it's one person. But there must be somebody that both of you can just throw everything out in the open, right? Don't cover anything up. Okay. All right. So back to wandering feelings, because I have to go back to my retreat, right? So it can happen to anybody for different reasons. What are some reasons you think wandering feelings can happen? It happens maybe like for me, distance. So people that do onshore, offshore, some people that do japa, I'm going to prepare the ground for you in Canada while the family will come 6 months after. It can happen. Financial pressures can cause it. I'm all for godly counseling and accountability for sure. Nobody should die in silence. Absolutely. Right? Financial pressures. It can be maybe you guys have had a quarrel or a fight and someone else just looks super attractive in that time, especially if the person is someone you've been crying to. There might be something you've been wanting your spouse to improve on for a while and then it hasn't happened and you see somebody giving it to you easily and you're wondering, not be human being be this, not be man be this, not be woman be this, like not be person born this one, and you just get attracted to that thing. But of course we should know that that's the whole 80-20 rule. What you're seeing in this person is 20%, you have 80% at home. And unfortunately, a lot of people have ruined good relationships and good marriages because of 20%, right? So what are some reasons we think wandering feelings can happen? Sometimes it can also happen because you get into a relationship or a marriage too early. Too early can be age, too early might be not discovering yourself, too early might be not in a long time in courtship in the relationship. And so you realize that when you get into the marriage and you're growing older in exposure, in age, in knowledge, in enlightenment, you realize that your taste buds have changed. You realize that, oh, I actually like to travel. Oh, I actually like a guy who is buff. Oh, I actually like a girl who is this. Oh, I actually like this. I actually don't want to live in Nigeria. But often enough, a lot of people get married before they fully know who they, maybe not fully, but know yourself to a large extent, right? And then you get married and you feel like, oh my God, I got married to grade D when I could get married to grade A. So this for me is so important. Your wandering feelings, you'll not be using all the Holy Ghost anointing and everything in you to keep your focus. I think that's another way that really, really happens. All right. So we've ascertained that wandering feelings can happen to anybody. The reasons wandering feelings can happen. What to do when you have wandering feelings or someone has cheated. And that's, I know there's a lot of meat there, but I cannot really unpack that right here and now. What do you do when the wandering feeling is becoming excessive? Is every wandering feeling going to lead to cheating? And then what do you do if your spouse or your partner is defensive about it? Now that one, they irritate me past. If something is happening, admit that it's happening. Don't get defensive about it. But sometimes the spouse or the partner can also get defensive because you are being critical or accusing them or coming off as accusatory. Right? So what can you do if you feel like your spouse or your partner is having wandering feelings? I don't even think that the first thing to do is to have a conversation at first. I think you need to see that it's becoming a thing. Because the truth about it is, every wandering feeling is a seed for cheating. I guess so, at the core roots of it. Okay, me, I'm talking about wandering eye now. Well, yes, even wandering feeling can lead to cheating if you don't do something about it. So you need to checkmate it early. Because the truth about it is, a fine girl can pass now. And even my husband can say, this baby is fine, no. I remember when when we just started cutting, and even early in marriage, and he will say, a girl is fine. I said, and you are telling me another girl is fine in front of me. I don't understand. For me, in my books at that time, it was an atrocity. How dare you? Are you trying to say something? Are you trying to say? Yeah, I can be very somehow. But eventually, I got to know that just the same way I'll say a nice car or see another fine woman step on the street and say, this baby is fine, no. He could do that. But of course, it could not now be every time he sees fine girl. Or every time he sees somebody that has shape. Or maybe see somebody that, hi, Tommy. I'm going to say Queen of Egypt, but I reject it. Yeah. Right. Larry really rejects it, depending on what they have to offer you. Right? So sometimes I also can say this person is fine, but we just need to ensure that it's not becoming disrespectful. If your wandering eye is becoming disrespectful to your spouse will now be beginning to feel devalued because of that, then it's a problem. So you need to observe. And even when you want to have a conversation, you cannot start with, that's how the last time I caught you. Can't you ever keep your eyes to yourself? For me, I think I would start a conversation something like, there's something I've noticed, but I don't even think you know it's happening. I think it's really unconscious or subconscious for you. I noticed that this happens XYZ. It's probably just my mind, but I thought to ask. Now, if you are dealing with a cheat from the beginning, the person is probably going to lie to you. So your entry level criteria needs to be high, right? So that you don't join yourself to a fool from the beginning. You want to have those kind of conversations. You don't want to sound critical. You don't want to sound judgmental. You don't want to sound conclusive, right? Sometimes, like, especially if you know you're with a good person, you don't want to start with judging the person. And when a fine person is coming across, say, I know you're going to like this person now. You yourself can just jump start it and say, you like this girl skinny Abby, you like this guy skinny Abby. As a one-off, just diffuse it. So I think I was sharing with somebody last week, and I was saying that I know that there was a time my husband likes Gabrielle Union. He's always like, this woman is ageless. She just doesn't age. She's just fine. She's just like that. Of course, initially it was getting to me, but after some time, when we see her on TV, I say, see your best friend, and I'll just diffuse it. I'll just kill it. I'll say, see this girl that's trying to look like me. Or see this girl that's trying to be fine like me, but she no rich. I'll just kill it, and he will laugh and say, should be you two, you have friend. I say, who is my friend? I don't have friend. And we'll just laugh over it. My husband is cool with it. He gets the message, and he's not going to tell me Gabrielle is fine all the time. Because I now start feeling like I need to have perfect dentition and long hair and hips to be fine. Right? So you must deal with wandering feelings as soon as possible. Otherwise, they will deal with you. You can end up in a place that you don't want to be. Right? I'm going to check if I have any questions. In here. I don't think I do. I don't know if anybody has any questions. Sorry, I've kind of breezed through this. But I do have to go back to the retreat. Do you have how do we deal with trust? So for example, can we talk about a couple of things we can do? For example, I've told my husband, or someone has told their wife that, I was actually catching feelings for this person, or this person was catching feelings for me and I was enjoying the attention. Because sometimes it's not even like us coming on to people are coming on to us, and just realize that you start catching feelings along the lines. So if I've told my spouse this, how do I, as the spouse who has been told, how do I not become suspicious? Yes, we said go through due process, but how do I not become suspicious? How do I not become afraid that this is going to be the end of my relationship? I want you guys to share some points. How can I not be suspicious? How can I grow in trust that my spouse has said, oh, this is not going to happen again, then it's not going to happen again. Especially when you're married, because ideally you're not going anywhere. You're not supposed to go anywhere. So how do you deal with it? Anisha says, I'm here to learn too. I'm here to hear thoughts from other people. So your spouse has told you, oh, they cheated, or they were having feelings for someone, or they actually like somebody else, or let's leave that wondering feelings. So I like to know too, especially if it's a long distance thing. You know that long distance is already very tricky, because even when things are normal, your communication game needs to be really high. Talk less of when there's now an issue going on. That's a whole different ball game. But please, I'd like people to share. Or shall I just post this video and ask it as a question for people to leave comments? Because I really need to go now. Meanwhile, next week, let me just say it now. Next week is the 29th of August. I'm starting a new series, if you will, in these lives. I'm going to be having guests. And I'm talking about something that's been on my mind for a while. But more so now, I just thought, let's do this. And it is finding and keeping love in the entertainment industry. Finding and keeping love in the entertainment industry. I've seen too many people, even young couples, young people, get married, and in 2 years, 3 years, they've broken up. In 1 year, 2 years, sometimes even as long as 7 years, break up. Like, so what is really happening? Is it the fame? Is it lack of understanding? Is it not preparing? Is it distractions? Is it money? Is it work pressure? What is it? So I'm getting 2 actors and a singer on this to talk about what they think is happening, how they've been able to deal with it in their own marriage, right? So the next 3 Fridays, except the 5th of August, I'm going to be dealing with finding and keeping love in the entertainment industry. Because I know there are some people that, thank you, Gloria, there's some people that want to get married to entertainers, or actually don't want to get married to entertainers, because like these ones, is woman rapper, man rapper outside. People will be kissing my husband on screen. You'll be wearing short skirt because I'm not doing. But for some people, you're actually supposed to be in that field, especially if you're supposed to be a kingdom influencer. Your husband is there, your wife is there, but these things give you concern. So can we talk about it, right? So people just want to know, like some people feel, I can't marry a pastor. That one, I hear that one standard. But I feel maybe I should even do finding and keeping love in ministry. Because when some people hear from me and I talk to them one-to-one, that it doesn't have to be like that. All the stories you've heard in the past, it doesn't have to be like that. You just really have to be intentional and choose right. But some battles are general. Whether you are in entertainment, whether you are in ministry, whether you marry a fool, you will have some issues. Some issues that apply to all men, right? So we're going to be dealing with that in the next 3 weeks, and I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, I think nobody really knows how to get over that thing. So maybe I will put it up. Yeah. So I'll put it up as a question. All right, guys, I'm going to go now. There's a few things extra I want to say. I'm thinking that next week, almost every day, I'm going to go live for about 10-15 minutes. I'll finish this off, and then I'll just take questions. Every day next week for about 10-15 minutes, I'll come live and take any relationship question, right? And also as we build up into the new series. All right, everybody, thank you for joining. I really have to go now. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.